acts of kindness should not be publicized. Acts of kindness should not be publicized. Speaking for the motion, Kanoo Toastmasters Club. Speaking against the motion is Teagus Toastmasters Club. Now, to start the proceedings, let's have the opening speaker of Kanoo Toastmasters Club take the podium.
Haven't we all been in a sticky situation or a problem in life where a friend has come to our help, bailed us out of the situation, got us safely out of trouble? We start looking at that friend differently. There's so much gratitude and affection and respect towards him. But haven't we also been in situations where we've had that friend bring it up years later and say, remember that day? Remember what I did for you? Only I was there for you. Remember how you felt then? What did you feel then? You wanted to say some not so very kind words back to the friend. That's the effect publicizing acts of kindness has. It beats the whole act, it beats the whole purpose. Kindness then crosses over to boasting and showing off. An act of kindness should not be and should never be about the person offering it. The person or persons at the receiving end of the act are more important and even more sensitive to the whole act. You may just end up hurting their feelings and emotions and end up making them feel that they are at the receiving end of charity and not kindness. Telling a close friend or a spouse is okay, but what good do you get from publicizing it? And today, with social media, publicizing takes it to a whole different level. In just 60 words, 160 words on Twitter, or a status message on Facebook, the whole world gets to know what you've put up. What good does it do to you if you're going to tell the world that you helped a friend with financial trouble? You only end up revealing sensitive information about the person and hurting them. Kindness is meant to uplift people and boost their self-esteem and make them feel good. Publicizing it will only make it counterproductive. Let's stop living a fake world on social media and trying to beat the purpose and trying to show the world something else. Let's stop living a real life and start living a real life. An act of kindness should definitely be done. Do it, but do not display it. Thank you.
Let's now hear from the opening speaker of Teagus Toastmasters Club.
Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Toastmasters, judges, my worthy opponents, and all kind and lovely people. We believe that kindness should be publicized. And there are n number of reasons I can quote, but due to lack of time, I'm going to remind everybody about the most important ones. This is the year 2017, and what is the relevance of this year for all of us in this country?
Year of giving.
Oh, thank you. As it is the year of giving, as announced by the President of the United States, or United Arab Emirates. And there is a reason why it was declared so. It wasn't just rhetoric, murmured in hush-hush tones in the corridors of the palace. It was made aware, it was publicized to the maximum extent possible, because that is how kindness works. Kindness is not rhetoric, it is not a word, it's not a verb, it is action. And action needs to be noticed. It is a virtue. And how do you extol a virtue? By exhibiting it, by demonstrating it. Oh, well, it is deep inside me, I can't even get it out. Well, it doesn't work like that way. How do you set role models? Your act of kindness makes you a better human being, and someone else watches you doing that and gets inspired. That is how kindness works. And not by hiding behind a wall. I need to do that if I have done something bad. If it was a vice, I need to hide it. I need to be ashamed of it. But if it is something good, what is the logic behind hiding behind a wall? What is the logic behind not telling somebody about it? That just goes against the whole value of human beings. Good deeds need to be known. And when you are not stealing somebody's property, you must talk about it. But at the same time, My kindness is not just me dumping a bunch of currency from my rooftop. I have no idea where that currency is going to fall. I need to know that my act of kindness goes to the right person, goes to the right place. And how do I do that? I need to know about it. I need to go there and I've got to do it. Somebody may have to sometimes tell me, this is where you need to drop money. Otherwise, it just becomes a waste of an experience. Kindness, it should be a natural way of life. It is not the exception. You've got to take pride when you are a kind person. What's wrong with that? It's a good feeling. Those who have given would have experienced that feeling. Kindness is not always $1 million check. It is my hand around my friend's shoulder when he is in trouble. It is that sweet smile that you share with another person when you know that person is badly in need of one. That is also kindness. And if I don't express it, I cannot even call it kindness. It needs to be expressed and publicized for kindness to become kindness. It's as simple as that. Plus, the cultural connotations of kindness. If I am in Japan, I probably would offend a waiter by tipping him. Do you know that? Well, if you do not know about it, it's because you were not aware of it. Sometimes some activities can offend because you're not aware it wasn't publicized. So acts of kindness has got a lot of connotations, but I would like to leave you with this. If you're kind, go ahead and publicize it. Be kind, be expressive. And that's my case.
Speaker from Teagus Toastmasters Club.
Thank you, my fellow Toastmaster, who did an act of kindness and publicized it. My worthy opponents, respected judges, brothers and sisters. An act of kindness. Should it be publicized or no? I think our opponent team has got it totally confused. Publicizing means done by a third party, not by the parties involved in that act of kindness. If I extend my opponent's arguments, I will have to call all the religious books, all the good teachings as publicizing. They never meant that. They did their act, but others wanted us to know that that was an act of kindness and that's how it is done. The worthy opponent started by saying, if a friend does a good favor, and then comes back and tells you that, do you remember I do it? That's not publicizing. That's self-boasting with an ulterior agenda to get something back from yourself. We are talking about the guy who favored from the act of kindness. Should he keep quiet? Should he not publicize that he was given this act of kindness and he has a sense of gratitude and therefore others can follow? That's what we do by publicizing. And then unfortunately, this goes into the same topic of social media again and again. I do not think taking a selfie and posting it is an act of kindness. Many times it's an act of cruelty. And then we go on to misrepresent the fact that Twitter can do 160 characters. That's wrong. It doesn't do anything else. That is 144. They are under considering it to increase it to double. So the point is it a display? Is it a self-boasting way of advertising what you do? Or is it something that people come up and do it on your behalf who have received this act of kindness? Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Aziz Premji have all publicly announced that they would contribute 99% of their wealth to worthy causes. That includes malaria, homelessness, Alzheimer's disease. If you don't know what to contribute to an act of kindness, this cannot be done. And in acts of kindness, we need to make very clear, I never think Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum tweeted himself in the social media. He was awarded the Order of the Mother of the Nation Award for his kind humanitarian things. But we all do. We will continue to do. Thank you very much.
Smile, an everlasting smile. A smile can bring you near to me. Fellow Toastmasters and my worthy and kind opponents. A very warm good evening to all of you. A brilliant display by my worthy opponent. This is the year of giving. There's one thing that has to be clarified. Charity is not kindness. Charity is only a form of kindness. And when you're talking about giving, you don't just increase your standard of giving, you increase the standard of living. And how do you increase the standard of living? What your right hand does, your left hand should not know. And if your left hand comes to know, you lose your reward. My worthy opponent said that your action should be publicized. Just outside this auditorium, we wished our worthy opponents all the best, an act of kindness. But when we came here, they wished us all the very best, publicizing. My worthy opponent mentioned that we need to also publicize so that they know that whatever is given should be at the right place, that the right person should receive it. But I tell you one thing, you need not go and physically verify and tell the whole world of what good you have done. You can use your own ways and means of verifying instead of publicizing the whole world. Now what happens when you do that? When you tell, check and verify for giving someone maybe an act of kindness or sponsoring a child, whatever, you are lowering the self-respect and the dignity of that individual because the whole world knows what you have done. The objective is you're increasing your pride. You mentioned, my worthy opponent mentioned about smile. That should be publicized. A smile is between one or two persons or a few persons. Why do you put it on, have to expose it on the social media? What mileage does one get by doing that? So, we need to understand one thing very clearly. Let us not leave it for Michael Jackson to change the world. Let us not leave it for Michael Jackson to heal the world. Let us not leave it for Eric Clapton to change the world. Let us heal the world. Let us change the world by ourselves with acts of kindness without publicizing it. And I hope our worthy opponents reciprocate the same. Over to you, moderator.
We will now hear from the closing speaker of Kanoo Toastmasters Club, Sandhya. Maybe next year. So till then, let's hear from Nisha.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Why should an act of kindness be hidden? Why should it not be seen by others? Our team does not see any reason for it. Kindness is about being good, about being benevolent, about being considerate. Our opening speaker pointed out how he does not feel that kindness is about handing out $1 million bill in front, a box of bills in front of somebody else. It is a state of mind. When his friend is in trouble, he would hug him. That is an expression. He did not want to hide it. He felt that when it is an expression, when it is a natural way of life, that is what life is about. He pointed out that when it becomes a way of life, it becomes a role model for others. We don't do good deeds hiding from our children because our way of life becomes a role model for them. Otherwise, they might go after wrong models. His third substantiation was, this is the year of giving in the nation that we live. It has been publicized to the maximum. Why? Not for any selfish intentions. It is to mobilize a movement so that everybody will partake in it. 4, He said kindness transforms into action, action transforms into virtue, and virtues need to be celebrated. Good deeds need to be known. He said there are different kinds of kindness. If you are kind to a waiter, you can give him a good tip. But if you don't know how kindness works in Japan, you might tip your waiter and insult him. So why should kindness not be publicized there? Our rebuttal speaker pointed out how a Toastmaster immediately came to his help when he felt that a competitor was in trouble. It was not about publicity, it is a way of life. Publicity is a forte for others to emulate what is happening. Religious books, great lives, they are publicized. That is why we try to emulate them. A friend who takes a loan from somebody, he rebutted the point that it is not publicizing. When you spell that to others to shame the friend, it is about boasting. That is not what we are discussing here. Social media need not be put in here because taking pictures and publicizing is not part of kindness. Bill Gates, he says, he works for malaria, bringing down the incidence of malaria. He talks about Warren Buffett, Tata, all these people, they have been mobilizing movements of kindness and they have never been hidden and people have been trying to work with them. So, kindness is a natural way of life, not an
Sandhya from Kanoo Toastmasters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and our very showy worthy opponents. A fantastic anecdote by our opening speaker threw caution to the winds. Do we want to remind that one friend who we helped out years ago on our acts of kindness? Let's be considerate. Person receiving an act of kindness is in a more sensitive situation, and display and demonstration just crosses that very sensitive border. Social media today via Twitter and Facebook just provides us that visual to display our acts of kindness, but isn't it all about showing off that end result? Blatant publication should not be about the person who is offering that random act of kindness. It should be about the person receiving that act of kindness. And let's all understand that kindness is about the upliftment of an individual, boasting their self-esteem. Display of that, isn't it just counterproductive? Then came our rebuttal speaker. He refuted the opposition in his crazy, dynamic, sing-song style, stifling and suffocating our worthy opponents. First and foremost, he differentiated between an act of kindness and an act of charity. Charity is one of the many acts of kindness. Verification of an act of kindness, whether it has been received by the right person at the right place, at the right position, why does that matter? What is important is about whether the person who has received it is happy and content. He then proceeded to conclude his effective rebuttal to say, let us heal the world, let us change the world by ourselves and not be reliant on showing off that. We, my friends, are at our final frontier today. The three of us stand relatively tall. All facts have been discussed, all arguments have been displayed, all myths have been displaced, thus demonstrating our position and demolishing our opposition. Forget the real world, live in the real world. Do it, don't display it. Acts of kindness should not be publicized, and that is our motion today. I rest my case. Thank you.